Assalamu alaikum people wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I pray you're well, you and your loved ones, and that we are all finding ways to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with every brand new day. I just wanted to share a reflection that I revisited today in my translations for Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyah rahimahullah that I pray will be beneficial. It's definitely beneficial for me, at least because recording this video is easier than me writing it out. But really, there's something very deep and very profound about this, worth considering, especially because some of us might have paused now with the holiday season, the days off. Maybe some people are involved in celebration. But he speaks about basically passion fatigue and like psycho-spiritual crowding. And he says that when a person tries to tend to certain needs they have for knowledge, for fulfillment, otherwise, in a way that is non-Islamic, when there is an Islamic counterpart, meaning not un-Islamic, not something haram, but he's doing something that Islam has its own version of, that is obviously superior, because if Islam taught it, Islam brought it, it's better than anything else in that genre, anything else that serves that end. He goes, when you settle for the inferior option, the non-Islamic option, that actually limits your ability to be passionate about, and as an extension of that, to benefit from the Islamic practice that is its counterpart. And so just reminding us that we have a threshold, we have like a capacity for our passion. So we have to really decide on what we want to be passionate about. And then the whole idea of you actually do have a say in what you're passionate about, because what you invest in, your passion will automatically, eventually become amplified for. You develop and cultivate your passions. And if you do that towards the wrong things, the non-Islamic versions of such practices, he goes, that crowds on your ability to be passionate about and benefit from the Islamic version. Okay, that was enough of an intro. He gives 4 really good examples, and you can extend it to so many others on your own, inshallah, beyond this short video reminder. He says, people that try to seek spiritual fulfillment, spiritual refinements, that spiritual equilibrium through songs and poetry, such people hardly benefit from the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Qur'an, and may even at times find it difficult, almost like a disinterest in them to pick up the Qur'an. And that's just so profound, because it really is true to not allow yourself to get absorbed into, the extreme example is always the easiest to understand, which is the haram example of, auditory entertainment, musical instruments and their sounds. That causes a euphoria inside of us that crowds on that spiritual sector. And perhaps it's of the greatest wisdoms of why musical instruments were made impermissible by our deen, because that euphoria has such an impact on us that Allah does not want you to be influenced and impacted by anything in that way but Him and His words subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's a crowd, push-pull, dynamic going on there. And to the degree that you are into, as he says, songs and poems for spirituality, you take away from your own potential to benefit from the Qur'an and what it has to offer you. The second example he gives, that people that are really into sightseeing, in other words, they're traveling the world to see this place and that place, not going to take a lesson from previous nations, as Allah told us to do in the Qur'an, but just interested in vacationing, right? Interested in sightseeing. He said, to the degree that you go down that rabbit hole, basically, that will detract from, he says, and this is observable, that such people are not as resolute, as interested, as passionate about making Hajj and Umrah, clearing out their schedule and mobilizing their assets and making this journey to the most sacred sites that are symbols of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His greatness and our devotion to the most great. The third example he gives, he says, and whomever becomes attached to, the words of wisdom of the Romans and Persians, he says, right? Like the major civilizations that were known for, their philosophies and otherwise. If you get too caught up in this, you will not be able to be impacted in a beneficial way by the guidance of Islam and the Sunnah. And that is also really interesting, because so many times we're looking these days for the wisdom of the day, the Monday morning wisdom that could be maybe packaged into a meme to get us through our day, get us through our week, and not realizing that this is not just a harmless exploration. Looking for it in the wrong places reinforces this notion that it exists in those places and not in the worthiest places to look, the fountains of guidance, the Qur'an and the Sunnah. And the fourth example he gives are tales and stories. He says, and whomever is so involved in the stories of the kings and the public figures and the personalities, I guess nowadays we can say novels, right? The story of this person and that person, or news feeds. Whoever is so busied in personality chasing and personality culting and just stories and myths and fables and narratives, he says that is a huge hurdle in a person being able to come after that to the stories of the prophets and realize what's so special about them and what they have to offer of just humongous life lessons and catalysts for our guidance, and so on and so forth. And so these are the examples he gives that grant us a moment of pause. One more example that comes to mind now is the example of holidays. Many of us may think it is harmless to participate in holidays other than our own. And of course, it is definitely harmful if we're talking about religious holidays. Those are definitely impermissible. But today's reflection that Ibn Taymiyah rahimahullah called our attention to is about holidays that may not even be haram. So some scholars, for example, say that social holidays that don't have, a religious underpinning, or a religious underpinning that is currently existent, they have, some would say that's not necessarily what the Prophet ﷺ forbid. But me and likely have seen people, maybe ourselves, that when we give attention to all these other holidays, it really detracts from our excitement and our glorification of the most meaningful days, like the days of Eid al-Fitr, like the days of Eid al-Adha. And that is unfortunate, and we need to be careful. We need to do some deep cleaning and think about, where do we cultivate our passions, channel them to what? And what we are passionate about currently, why is that? And what is it costing us? So I pray this was of benefit somehow, and that Allah Azza wa Jal allows us the ability to understand ourselves better and deep clean further, so that we are most correctly positioned to accelerate towards Him and His pleasure, and our meeting with Him in good standing, and being with our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the abode of bliss, in the abode of unending pleasures and delights, where our passions will be without fatigue, and our pleasures will never fade, and our sadness will never return. May Allah grant us and you there and increase us in guidance. Barakallahu feekum. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum.